We're not supernatural, obviously.
We have been under investigation by the IRS, and we have just received a ruling that we are not a legitimate church.
Independent vampires. Can you tell me what that is?
We need to feed on energy to stay healthy.
And how?
We drink blood.
Ugh.
Who are you?
My job is really boring. Ulysses is my favorite book. I like The Bachelor. It's my favorite TV show.
You're kind of a weirdo.
Hi guys, it's Lisa here from the Lisa Loves channel doing a review for you today on Geek Legion of Doom. And I'm very excited to talk to you about a new romantic comedy with a bit of an alternative edge by the name of Bite Me. Now this is from a female director and a female writer. It's directed by Meredith Edwards and is written by Naomi McDougall Jones, who also actually is the lead star in this, Sarah. And we follow the romance between Sarah and James. James you would recognise Christian Coulson, who plays Tom Riddle in the Harry Potter series. So this is not your typical romantic movie, guys. I'm not a big sort of rom-com fan, but I do feel this movie had a lot to say. The background of this, without going into too much detail to give anything away, is that Sarah is actually a vampire. She lives with other vampire friends, and the place that she resides, that she lives, they also see as being their place of worship, their church. And James and Sarah meet when she is called forward by IRS for unpaid taxes to actually say this is a place of worship, therefore we do not need to pay taxes. This is how James and Sarah actually meet initially. He works for the IRS. He could not have been more plain, vanilla, normal, nice, sweet, just an all-round nice guy. Sarah, on the other hand, is very alternative. She very much has a goth appearance. She has a tattoo on her face that goes around her eye, very much like Mike Tyson, which she got as a teenager and has regretted ever since. So we have this juxtaposition between this really alternative, fierce girl that's actually a vampire. Now we do get an explanation for that, which I'm not going to go into. It's not your typical idea of vampires, it's something entirely different. And then we have James, who is just your typical normal bloke. He works for the IRS, and these two are inextricably just pulled together. They just have this instant attraction, and obviously they both come up against issues with people on their side. Like James's family really don't appreciate the appearance of this girl that he's getting involved with, and on the other hand, Sarah's group of friends just look at this really plain, normal, to them very dull, boring guy and wonder what Sarah can see in him. So it's sort of like the prejudice from each side that each of these two people get in just wanting to be together. To me, the vampire side of things just basically runs along the background of. I do feel this movie would have worked just fine without that in it at all. Obviously it adds a bit of a fun element into things, which is interesting. I don't think I've seen anything quite like this before, but I do feel that just this normal guy that works for the IRS alongside this woman that is just so alternative, and their romance and people just being against that was interesting enough in itself to me. Now, what did I like about the movie? I thought the acting performances were all spot on. I believed all of the characters. I really liked the actresses that played Sarah's friends. They had very different personalities. There's a lot of pokes at the whole vampire myth. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It kind of tries to dispel different sort of things that you would come to believe from being a stereotypical thing about a vampire that is quite funny in a what we do in the shadows kind of way, that sort of thing. On the other hand, James lives with a work colleague. We also have a small glimpse into a conversation with his mother in this via video call. And his colleagues, his family couldn't be any more dislikable, but I think that very much is the point. So we have this group of really fun alternative types that are the vampires that we really like, and we have this group of really sort of like dull, plain, judgmental people that we're sort of pretty much against. I don't know if that's just me being from a very alternative sort of background, but that's the feeling I had watching the movie, which I think is important to put across purely because you believed these characters, you cared about these characters. I was really behind Sarah's character. I loved the fact we had a normal looking girl in a lead role in a movie. Now that sounds odd. Yes, she looks very alternative. She has blue hair, she has a facial tattoo, but she looks like a normal alternative girl, and that for me as an alternative girl was very relatable. things that she did, silly mistakes she made in the past for silly reasons, not believing that someone can look at her and say she's beautiful. There's a line in there with regards to that that's really funny that I won't spoil for you. And James is just transfixed by her as a person, by her inner strength, by her fierceness, and he loves that about her. So it's him accepting her with absolutely no judgment like other people would tend to give her. So obviously we do have the arc, we do have the story going in, which is I suppose quite a stereotypical way of there's an issue in the relationship, are they going to sort it out, are they not going to sort it out, but all in all I did really like the movie. I did like the characters, I felt they were all really believable. I did like the relationship, and this is from someone that doesn't normally like romantic movies. Even rom-coms I'm not usually a fan. What I liked about this is I saw representation of me in there, and I'm obviously not a vampire, but we don't get to see alternative types, and if we do, they aren't proper alternative types. This did deliver on that. And all her friends at one stage get all dressed up in what they call vampire regalia, which to me was just, I'm just like, I want that outfit, that's just amazing. Really appealed to me as a former goth, I suppose. So what I like, the characters, the storyline, the fact we have alternative types. I like the message that we shouldn't judge. That message can be carried across into so many different sections of life, about not judging people based on different things, their beliefs. But what didn't I like? Now, I don't think there is an awful lot in the movie I didn't like. You can tell that the movie isn't a massive budget movie, but that to me doesn't matter if the story works and if the characters are believable, which in this case it is. There's one particular scene nearing the end of this where we do have a confrontation of sorts between the vampires and the IRS people. That was a little bit cheesy, but I think it was meant to be. I think we were meant to think, oh, for God's sake. I think that was purpose. It did strike me as being really, really cheesy, but as I say, I think that was maybe done on purpose. And there's also the odd line throughout that again is a little bit cheesy, but I think the movie does take itself very much tongue-in-cheek, not too seriously, and I honestly believe that little bits where you think, I think they were meant to be going for that actual reaction. We were meant to find it funny in a cringy kind of way. So I don't think there's an awful lot I can criticise about the movie. It's a very simple movie. It is a very simple romantic comedy, as I say, with that alternative edge in the background, which isn't a massive emphasis, and I do feel the movie would have worked even without that, because for me the pull was the characters, was the relationship, was how different they were, was the opposition on each side, and they pretty much were determined to be in love, to be together anyway. So that for me is what worked. So yeah, it's a thumbs up from me. It won't be for everyone. It does, as I say, mostly centre around the relationship, the love side of things. It's not a horror by any stretch of the imagination. There's nothing horrific or gory in this movie whatsoever. But it's a sweet movie, and it's one that I did enjoy watching, that I did appreciate it. So for a score out of 10, I would give Bite Me a 7. So Bite Me is released on VOD on the 8th of February. Let me know below in the comments if you think this sounds like something you would enjoy, or if we're after the 8th of February, have you seen it? What did you think? Let us know below in the comments, and we look forward to speaking to you next time.